Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and we are back with more reactions for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This time we're on episode 2. The first episode, the first reaction, just, you guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. You guys are incredible. I think, like, just the amount of support that, like, first initial reaction kind of garnered, and all the people that kind of just, almost flocked to the channel and was hyping it up. Just, it's to tell you what, like, I think it's been a long time since I've actually been that happy to wake up to notifications on my phone. Just like I'm waking up in the morning, then turning the Wi-Fi on my phone, and all of a sudden it's just I just get like the notification bar just flying up and down, just with all these comments and all these likes and everything. And it's just, it was really great and amazing to wake up to. I think, like, the only other time that's happened was, I think, when I first the only other only other time I can remember that happening was when I first began reacting to Agents of Shield, and that's been just a rollercoaster ride of emotions from then to now, like almost near the end of season 4, and that's, easily become one of my favorite shows of all time. So I can only imagine how I'm gonna progress through Buffy, and how it's gonna affect me, or take a toll on me, and what's gonna happen. But I do know, like, because of the amount of reception that video got alone, I do know it's gonna be a journey we can all experience together. Um, so I'm here for it. Hoping you guys are here for it too. The first episode, the first video alone was just, solid evidence that people really are here for it. That, people really do love this show, and they do love reactions to it as well. So all the more reason for me to keep going and stuff. But yeah, just thank you to everyone. Thank you to both Liam Duke and Liam Caddison for the shout outs, and pretty much every other kind of Buffy reactor out there who noticed and actually did kind of, sound the alarms and everything for, like, the newcomer into the fandom and everything. So that was just really amazing to just kind of wake up to and see. So yeah, great kind of morning, kind of, great kind of a great morning, just a great morning in general. So just, and thank you to everyone who's joined the channel, who's joined and subbed, and everyone who's joined the Patreon too. I can't wait to share all the more full lengths and awesome content with you on there. But yeah, it's just, I still, I can't see it, like that morning, that day as a whole, as more and more people just kept coming in and discovering and commenting and sharing and all that kind of stuff. I just couldn't I just couldn't stop smiling. I really couldn't stop smiling. So it was a really great kind of following day from having uploaded that reaction and then just watching stuff kind of unfold. So I can't wait to keep watching the show and keep sharing all the reactions with you all. So yeah, it's been amazing, and I think, and a lot of people have kind of informed me on various different things, like, and then people, by the way, have kept, like, done a great job of keeping the comments for that one spoiler free as well. So massive thank you for that. Let's actually keep things that way. Let's keep things spoiler free. I don't have any kind of moderators or anything like that yet, but I think I'm kind of somewhat safely assuming for now that I'm, that I can get by without any. But I think obviously, like, depending on how things go and depending on how deep I get, where things become a lot more sensitive, and some people can get really excited and just kind of comment things without realizing them, and then I think, some people do try and either delete them or edit their comments before, like, they think I've had a chance to see them. So either way, I appreciate the effort either way. But for now, I think maybe, like, not having moderators should be fine, or should be okay. But somewhere down the line, maybe it might be something I bring in, and stuff. So that will be kind of on the horizon. But other people just have generally just been kind of sharing support and just being really excited to actually get into like an all new journey into the show and into the Buffyverse and everything. And people have just kind of been informing me on various things and sharing their thoughts and everything. And yeah, I think not necessarily like a facepalm moment or anything, but just easily the biggest kind of, like, oh shit kind of moment was when I think I remember explicitly mentioning in that video. I think I actually did mention in the video that I knew that there was actually the original kind of formatted version for the show, which was actually like it being like a square box with the borders on the sides and everything, and then there was actually the HD remaster thing. And I said, I know I'm not meant to go into the HD remaster because that thing is atrocious and it's not really the way the show's meant to be watched. And then what do you know? That is exactly like the very first episode of the show that I watch is from the HD remastered version. I mean, to be fair though, it's I watched it off of Disney Plus too. So I don't know why Disney Plus are making me do that, but Disney Plus I think has the actual HD remastered version of the episode as well. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if the same is going to be said for Angel. I don't know if Angel actually has like a similar version, or if they actually managed to update the format somewhere down the line for that too, or what's happening. But I mean, with this being as early as it was, I can kind of get them still having that kind of square box kind of frame for it too. So I have updated that. I actually did get like find a different box set where the format was actually accurate and everything, and so I've got that, and it's like available like in different places too. It's like on iTunes and Amazon Prime too. So yeah, it's still available. It's still kind of available. So you can easily like for future full length reactions. You can still. I mean, I'm trusting you guys have already been fluent in the Buffyverse and what to do and to what definitely not to do. You guys have already got your kind of appropriate kind of versions ready for full length kind of syncing and everything. So yeah, so I did correct that, and then I think someone was actually kind enough to actually provide like a giant kind of like a drive link with all the necessary. Like I took one look at it, and my brain was just overloaded with information. It actually took me like a good few days to try and process everything, and I think I'm still not sure if I actually did manage to process everything. I still find myself going back to check on various things, but it was like a spoiler-free kind of rundown of pretty much the entire show, spin-offs included as well. So that was like a giant piece of homework that I had to do. Homework I did not expect to get getting into this show. So that was interesting. That was a very, very interesting piece of research that I went through. But thank you, regardless. I know that must have been provided for me to make sure that I can actually do these reactions in the best way possible. So thank you to the person who provided that link. But yeah, so now I do have the right version, and I do, I trust that going forward now, just no issues. I think again, timeline-wise, I do still need to kind of brush up on the actual chronology and actually check out when to watch certain things and do everything else. But besides from that, should be all good. So hopefully we can actually go forward without any other hiccups, any kind of technical difficulties that arise that I really can't sort them out until I find out about them, which probably might be until it's too late to do anything substantial. But either way, hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing goes wrong, and these reactions can all be released without too many kind of technical or time-wise kind of hiccups. So yeah, that is So Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So we had the first episode, which was I think Welcome to Sunnydale, and we had Buffy Summers, introduced Buffy Summers, played by the lovely Sarah Michelle Gellar. And Buffy was the new girl at Sunnydale, moving to Sunnydale from I think like LA, or just somewhere in California. So she was the new girl, and she had been kicked out of her old school for doing some typical vampire slaying. She managed to trap some vampires, I think, in her school gymnasium. I think it was her school gym, and then she actually burned the gym down and everything. So then I would be very, very surprised if she didn't at least get expelled get suspended for that. But I think she did get expelled / kind of kicked out. So that happened. So then her and her mother had to move to a new town, and then she joined the new school and discovered that things aren't always as easy. Running away from your vampire slaying duties aren't always as easy as you want them to be. So even moving to Sunnydale apparently made things worse too, since apparently Sunnydale seems to be like a beacon or some kind of like a hub for all the supernatural stuff going down. So yeah, we met Buffy. We met some new faces too. Willow, played by Alison Hannigan. She is another kind of like a potential friend for Buffy to have throughout this series. We met Willow. We met Xander, played by I think his name was Nicholas Brendan. Brendan. He's also another friend, and him and Willow have been friends since childhood and everything. So they're already tightly knit and now getting ready to fully meet Buffy as well. And I think we did have Xander's friend Jesse as well, but I think based on what happened to him, given that he got bit by Darla and he's still somewhat drained, I'm kind of guessing that he's not really going to make it too far into the season. It doesn't really seem like too much of it doesn't really seem like he's going to last beyond the first few episodes at least, and then it's just going to be Willow and Xander kind of accompanying Buffy on her adventures too. So yeah, but regardless, we had Jesse, and we also met Cordelia. Who kind of seems more like the popular girl at school, like already having that most kind of grounded and human kind of element within the show, where she's just like the popular girl in school, and she's already kind of teaching Buffy who to talk to and who not to talk to, and teaching her all about social statuses and all that crap. So she's going to be that kind of character. So very intrigued at the very least to see how she goes forward, and to see if she also just somehow gets mixed up in all this too. Like maybe if she actually does kind of end up in the wrong place at the wrong time, or maybe if she does just somehow find out about this stuff and then she has to do something. But I think for the most part, she is going to provide that kind of grounding human element of being like the popular and slightly mean girl at school, trying to teach Buffy to be just like her and everything. So there's her. And she's played by Charisma Carpenter, so that's cool. And in terms of the more adult characters, the more mature adult characters, we had Anthony Head playing Giles, Mr. Giles. He is also new. He also joined around the same time as Buffy. He's the new kind of librarian at Sunnydale High School, and he is also connected to Buffy in a much more professional way too, being the Watcher. So as she is the Slayer of all things evil, he is the Watcher of the Slayer of all things evil. So he's the one who has to prepare her and train her and guide her and actually help her be able to efficiently slay monsters and do all that kind of jazz. So very, very interested to see how they're both going to get along in the upcoming episodes, and how their kind of dynamic and their relationship is going to kind of blossom, and how like the story's going to revolve like just a little bit around them, with them actually working together to try and help take down vampires and what have you. I mean, he did mention other stuff like zombies and succubus and incubi and other kinds of monsters. So I think definitely gonna have some kind of supernatural diversity with the enemies coming to Sunnydale too. So it will be fun to explore that whole world with Giles. I think Giles has like a whole book, like a giant like book with vampire with a Y written on the front. So he has like a whole encyclopedia of evil crap that Buffy has to train to kill and learn how to be and everything. So he's gonna be that guy. So that is very cool. And also, I think some people actually did point out that me already knowing who Angel was actually a bit of a spoiler, because I think you're not actually meant to know who. I mean, understandably, you're not really meant to know who he is as of yet. And even even that first episode, he just kind of popped in and then popped out almost as just as quickly and everything. So him being a vampire, I think, is definitely not a reveal that is meant to happen yet. But I think I mean, yeah, I mean, I didn't really come into this like feeling like it was too much of a spoiler, because I think it is like I think I already knew of Buffy. And was aware of the show before I came into this, and then I think for almost as long as I've known Buffy was a thing, I've also known Angel was a thing, and I've seen Angel on TV transforming into a vampire. If you like that, that was the clip I once saw of the vampire transformation and everything. So because I think because of that, I definitely recognize that, oh, that's the same guy who plays the kind of Angel character, so he must be a vampire too. So I think I kind of came into this knowing that, but I think I never really kind of saw it as too much of a spoiler, but I don't know, I guess it's still kind of, I guess the reveal must still be fun, and must still kind of be a head turn and everything. So I look forward to it nonetheless. So yeah, the Angel kind of came in as the kind of mystery man and kind of warned Buffy about the harvest and all the kind of evil kind of stuff that's going to go down in Sunnydale, and he gave her a crucifix too. He gave her a crucifix to try and defend her and everything. So I think this kind of does kind of operate on more traditional kind of horror kind of lore and culture of like for vampires, especially like no daytime stuff, and typical fangs and evil scrunchy makeup faces and everything, and then the whole maybe not touching garlic, or no reflections, or because I think this is so far back when that that you probably would only be able to detect it through a mirror. Like I can't really imagine that selfie culture would have been too high or too popular during this time. Like I mean, maybe not in the way it is today. Maybe people would still be carrying a camera of some kind and still taking pictures, so that would still probably be a thing. But at least in the way that we experience it today, it probably wouldn't be the same thing with the technology being what it was back then. But I think they still are definitely kind of sticking to the traditional kind of understanding that the audience has of vampires and what they are and what they can do and what their kind of weaknesses are and everything. So it's cool to go into this with already that kind of reassured level of familiarity. So that's fun. But yeah, we had Angel and he warned of the harvest. So yeah, the harvest and the master are both kind of connected things. So like the harvest is where they actually kind of kidnap people and feed them to the master and provide him with more power to grow and build himself back up again. And then once he does, he will walk among the land of man and do all the classic kind of evil vampire villain stuff. So yeah, the master is uprising and he has servants doing his bidding and people being turned and drained and all that kind of jazz. So fun stuff, fun horror stuff, fun, very, very, very fun horror, action, drama stuff. So yeah, that is pretty much all I've got from the first one. So on to episode 2. This is a two-parter. It surprised me last time when I said to be continued. It surprised me it being a two-parter. So I trust that this actually might be a two-parter and not like a three-parter or anything. But either way, let's go into the to be continued part. So yeah, reaction time for episode 2. So yeah, but like I mentioned before, the full-length reaction for this one, because this one will just be like the fair use version with the highlights and the best bits of the episode and everything. But the full unedited version of the reaction will be available over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. But yeah, that is it. So on to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, season 1, episode 2. Let's go. Oh god. Oh no. The Slayer cannot get bitten. Oh, the crucifix! The crucifix saved her! The crucifix saved her. Angel's crucifix saved her. Okay. The original version has a darker filter over it too. That's really, yeah. I think the color grading is intentionally maybe lowered too, like the filtering. Oh yeah, makeshift stakes again. Makeshift stakes again. Yeah. She looks so cool under that blue lighting, the strobe lighting.
You are sitting down.
Oh, good for me.
So vampires are demons. The books tell of the last demon to leave this room.
Yeah, Jesse's gone. R.I.P. to Jesse. It's been real. Yeah, great first episode. Great introduction. You know, he was pivotal to the introduction to the pilot and everything. You know, but all good things must come to an end.
For as long as there have been vampires, there's been the Slayer. One girl in all the world, a chosen one.
He loves doing this part.
Yeah.
All right. The Slayer hunts vampires. Buffy is a Slayer. Don't tell anyone.
Have you any proof?
Only that she fought me and yet lives.
Very nearly proof enough. I can't remember the last time that happened.
1843, Madrid. He caught me sleeping.
Oh, it was a he that
She
time.
mustn't be allowed to interfere with the harvest.
God, that computer is so old. I used to have a computer like that with the big bulky screen at the back. I used to have that computer for like too long. I had it for too long. Way too long.
When I accidentally decrypted the city council's security system.
You hacked into the council security system?
Here, this is useless.
God damn. Willow has some skills. She got skills.
It seems to be some sort of preordained massacre. Rivers of blood. Hell on earth. Quite charming. I'm a bit fuzzy, however, on the details. It may be that you can wrest some information from that dread machine.
In American English?
That was a bit, British, wasn't it?
Welcome to the new world.
I want you to go on the net.
Even as a Brit myself, I understood like half of that. I won't lie. It's pretty formal British, yeah. Although to be honest, like everything British is formal British to Americans. So. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun seeing how Giles fits into the Americanness of this show. Yeah.
Maybe that's how they do things in Britain. They've got that royal family and all kinds of problems, but here at Sunnydale, nobody leaves campus while school's in session. That's the Buffy Summers I want in my school. Sensible girl.
The royal family with all their problems. Oh god, that aged well, didn't it? That definitely aged well.
And everyone else thinks it's just a normal day.
Nobody
Best
knows.
keep it that
It's like
way.
you've got this big secret.
Yeah, so like your
That's what the
spies.
secret is, when you know something other guys don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Special Agents Xander and Willow. Yeah, Agents of Sunnydale.
Yeah.
Oh god, I feel like, I don't know. Feels like a spin-off kind of light bulb idea, but also feels just kind of meh.
Look, if you're gonna be popping up with this cryptic wise man act on a regular basis, can you at least tell me your name?
Angel.
Angel. It's a pretty name.
It really is. It really is a pretty name,
Don't
and he is a very
go
pretty
down
man, so it fits.
Deal with my going.
Good luck.
Just that silent ending. Oh, good luck. Can't really say it out loud because then things might happen. Oh, rats. Rats, yeah. I have become a lot more fond and tolerable of rats. Like, not tolerable, I've become a lot more fond of rats after having watched The Suicide Squad. So, yeah. Although I take it that this show isn't really going to treat them as nicely as the movie did. Oh, boy. Oh, Xander, Jesus.
Well, I couldn't just sit at home and do nothing.
Really, you couldn't?
If I can help him out, that's what I gotta do.
Right. Well, at least he's here for moral reasons and not out of sheer stupidity. Maybe some stupid bravery, perhaps, but either way, moral reasons.
Besides,
So.
it's this or chem class.
Okay, yeah. Either this or the safety of education.
There was this time I was pinned down by this guy that played left tackle for varsity. Well, at least he used to before he was a vampire. Anyway, he had this really, really thick neck, and all I had was a little X-Acto knife. You're not loving this story.
No, actually, I find it oddly comforting.
What's an X-Acto knife?
They will gather and be
Like a
gathered.
pocket knife?
From the vessel pours
Oh,
life.
that was a good transition. I really like that.
Life.
Screaming with the sticks. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I swear.
Who?
No, she has a flair for the dramatic. She really has a flair for the dramatic.
She's not a psycho. You don't even know her.
Who gave you permission to exist? Do I horn in on your private discussions? No. Why? Because you're boring.
I'm really not gonna like Cordelia, am I? I'm really not gonna like Cordelia. I'm just not.
Okay, so how do we save it?
Deliver.
Deliver? Where's that? Oh.
That's delete. That's you just deleted everything. That's delete, yeah. Great. Great job, Cordelia. Great job. This is what happens when you try and pick on the nerds.
It's cool. Buffy's a superhero.
Buffy's a superhero.
Do you think anyone heard that?
Oh yeah, they heard. Oh, the glowing eyes in the dark. It's a really nice touch. Oh, Jesse's already turned. They turned him. So they used him as bait and they turned him.
I feel good, Xander. I feel strong. I'm connected, man, to everything.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, just vampire bowling. Vampire bowling. Oh. Jeez, how heavy is this door? Jesus. Oh, there's the big hand. There's the big hand. Oh. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. That is such a heavy door, but then also, well, they're vampires. They have strength. Yeah. Okay. Oh, God. Oh, I knew that was coming. Yeah, I knew that was coming. Come on, just kick him off. Just, yeah, oh, sunlight. Yeah, sunlight. Okay.
You failed me.
Oh, is he gonna get punished?
Tell me you're sorry.
Oh, he's gonna get punished, isn't he?
I'm sorry. There. That wasn't so bad, was it? Oh, hold on.
Oh, yeah, you got...
something in your eye.
Oh, he gouged his eye out. Oh, no, not the eyes. Oh. Oh, is he gonna feed? He's gonna feed on the master?
Luke is the vessel.
Luke is the vessel.
Every soul he takes,
Ah, so he's like a conduit, like a... Yeah.
and their souls he might
So he gets power through Luke. He gets power through him.
Did you find Jesse?
Yeah.
Was he dead?
Worse.
The Spanish who first settled here called it Boca del Infierno,
Inferno.
aptly translated Hellmouth.
There was an earthquake that swallowed half the town, and him too.
You see,
So that's why it's underground then.
tricky business.
Ah,
The minion is called the Vessel,
Luke.
and he bears this symbol.
Kind of a ninja star.
I dust anyone sporting that symbol, and no harvest.
The sun will be down before long.
I gotta make a stop. Won't take long.
What for?
Supplies.
Yeah, actually pick up some stuff this time. Yeah. I mean, improvisation is cool, but still, being prepared, even cooler. Or just as cool. Just as cool. That is such a cool jacket. That is a really cool jacket. Yeah. Everything a vampire slayer would need. Oh, that's an extra sharp stake. Oh, yeah. Careful you don't actually nip yourself, actually putting it up there, or like moving your arm about. Because the way you take that out reminds me of how Castiel would take the Angel Blade out on Superman, just like flicking his wrist and the Angel Blade comes slipping out from his sleeve. There's like he seems like an easy, really way to actually stab yourself or cut yourself on the arm or something.
I just am not the type to settle, you know? It's like when I go shopping. I have to have the most expensive thing. Not because it's expensive, but because it costs more.
Cordelia is interesting, isn't she? She's interesting, and quite a bit of the time she's just antagonizing, but yeah, very interesting display of like of what some high school students are like. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess teenagers in general.
Hey! Hello? Hey, man brain. What are you doing?
Shut up.
Well, just one dance.
Oh, he's taking control this time. He has the new power. He has the power of self-confidence, which is exclusive to vampires and their slayers. Oh no, it's Darla. It's Darla and the vampires. Darla and the vampires, and they're transformed. They're not really hiding anything. Come on, Buffy. Any time today would be nice.
It's like an elixir.
Any time today would be nice. Oh no. Yep, yeah. When Luke drinks blood, the Master gains power.
They're all for the Master.
I don't get one?
What? No volunteers?
Of course not. Oh. Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of Cordelia, but she doesn't deserve to go out like this. Oh, okay.
You write down.
Now she's gonna take the stairs. No, whoa. Oh, she's gonna do a backflip. Oh, okay. That's a cool way of getting down. Who needs stairs when you can just do flips? Yeah. Just do flips, just keep flipping.
Okay, Vessel.
Oh, she used to pork you as a steak.
You want blood?
I want yours.
Oh, jeez. Oh, there we go. Now Buffy is going to be known to be the girl who fights freakish vampire monsters. Oh, beheading! Beheading! Oh, nice, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, God. Okay, nice. Okay, holy water. Holy water. There we go, yeah. Good splash of that to the face. Yes. Yes. Nice one, Willow. Okay, now Jesse, now you got Xander even, you gotta get your time to shine. Come on. Come on. It's not Jesse anymore. He's a vampire. Okay. Okay, one bird is all it takes.
Metal can't hurt me.
There's something you forgot about too. Sunrise.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is it daytime already? Is it daytime already? No, it's not daytime. Oh, she tricked it. Oh, yeah, no.
9 hours, moron.
Yeah, I was wondering. Isn't it a bit too early for sunrise, isn't it? A bit too, yeah. That's good. She's got trickery. She's got some sneaky tricks up her sleeve too. I like that. Yeah. Oh no, the Master can't rise anymore. His vessel's dead. His vessel is dead. The Master can no longer rise. Oh, there's that blue lighting I love. Yeah. There's that blue lighting I love. Oh, that was so cool. That was so cool.
I'll be damned.
Yeah. When the danger passes, then he shows up.
Oh yeah, that's a plan. Because last schools are not hellmouths.
Maybe you could blow something up. They're really strict about that.
Well, she already burned something down. I'm sure she could really
You know, like
blow something up.
excessive not studying.
Death is doomed.
No, I reckon they'll be alright. I reckon they'll be good enough. And that is the end of episode number 2. So yeah, fun part 2. Very fun part 2. A very nice conclusion to part 1, pretty much. And yeah, I do definitely remember like a few people saying that like season 1 as a whole is Jesus, something in my eye. Hold on, Jesus. I do remember like some people saying that season 1 is more of like, actually laying the groundwork and the show kind of finding its feet, so that there's not a whole lot to get invested in just yet. But it's also more like it's definitely like how like with a lot of shows like season like the first season at most is pretty much where like they kind of test your kind of endurance, your kind of passion for it. Like if you actually manage to push through season 1 and get to season 2, and like season 2 is where things actually really kick off, and there's like something to really get invested in, something to actually follow and engage in. So far, I mean, it just seems like a really really fun time, like a really fun action-packed kind of fantasy horror kind of adventure thing, which I'm already really enjoying. Like I think the story so far seems okay. Like I think I was fully expecting like the harvest thing to be the story for season 1. Like every episode, maybe like maybe Luke himself, or Luke's like Luke himself goes out, or maybe he sends other vampires out to pick up more potential victims to feed to the master. Like maybe that's the whole thing, and then maybe like maybe the season finale is the harvest, and that's when the master rises. But then no, it's like, wow, bring it back into season 2. We're already. I mean, honestly, that's just props to Buffy and her amazing new team that they're able to actually to prevent and defeat threats that quickly. But I was fully prepared to have to follow and invest in the harvest for like a full season before getting into something more high stakes and like action packed and like stuff like that. So no pun intended, obviously. But well, I don't know. Maybe if you want the pun to be intended, maybe the pun's intended. But either way, I was fully like expecting it to be like a long drawn thing, which I think. I mean, again, I think that would kind of depend how they write it. If it could actually be written and kind of like portrayed in like an engaging way, or if it could actually be like if it could be a case of like because like that story is all like, oh wow, kids are going missing every episode, now we really have to stop. So like that would definitely be some kind of pumping, like heart pumping action and drama and tension and everything. Like like they're just kind of failing to save people, or maybe like the harvest is getting ever closer and now they have to really kind of try and stop it. But I guess this just means that the rest of the episodes of season 1 will all have their own unique kind of. Because I don't know if it's this way for each episode. Like each kind of episode is sectioned off into 2 parts where they have to discover the threat, then try and fight it, and then conclude it with another episode of them actually defeating it, or what's going to happen. But either I think probably just a sign that that they've got even more interesting and explorative, right? Like interesting and kind of creative options of to explore, like in terms of enemies and threats. I mean, they definitely want to take the time. I mean, carrying on the harvest for one entire season would also mean that they kind of carry vampires on for one entire season. But I think even doing that, they probably could still find the time to fit some other monsters in there. But I think with this one, it just kind of means that like you can actually just kind of conclude the conclude the harvesting. And I mean, I think the harvest is gone, but the master is still there. We definitely found out that the master is still alive, so he could easily try something else. I think keeping the master there, but then actually cancelling the harvest kind of maybe leaves it up for like a retrial in like future episodes or something. So either way, I think actually like wrapping it up here and now just kind of leaves them more kind of space and more like a lot more room to introduce all the other monsters that Buffy has to train herself and actually has to learn to fight against. So it is a very very compact kind of story, which again I think it flowed very nicely. It flowed and paced itself out well enough to enjoy. So that was well done. But yeah, I think this episode also did a good enough job of actually doing like a whole team dynamic thing, actually introducing them as a team, which I think again like that kind of happened surprisingly faster than I expected to. I don't think I didn't expect that we'd be getting like an actual team, or not an actual team just yet. I mean, it was their first mission, but then it actually turned out to be a success, and they actually bonded over and everything. So I didn't think we'd be getting that this soon. I thought maybe like. I mean, like I think again, even in that sense, it makes sense because I think like they've all kind of like I mean, with Buffy, it's her job to do this, and Giles, it's his job to make sure that she can do her job in like an efficient and kind of in a way that ensures her survival. But then Xander and Willow, they were just kind of caught up in this, and then they lost Jesse to this whole mess, and then they're literally caught up in the whirlwind of action and horror and vampires and harvesting and all that kind of crap. So like they're caught up in it, and then they actually run into Buffy and find out what she can do. So then they're just kind of like tagging along to partially to save Jesse, but then also partially to actually. And I think that was also what I found interesting too, like Xander and Willow, or I think that kind of mixture of them still struggling to process what was going on, but then still kind of being willing to help, like Xander, especially him being willing to actually jump. I mean, he mentioned Jesse at one point, which he did want to save his friend, but then also like his actual willingness and his actual kind of like motive, like his actual drive to actually try and do the right thing and actually help, which was interesting to see, because I think these kinds of characters, I think these kinds of characters are human enough that you would expect that you would expect them to take a long time to actually get into this, but also maybe even show some hesitation, maybe even actually get some hesitation from them, and actual reluctance, and then being like, I don't want to have to fight vampires, I don't want to have to worry about getting my neck ripped open and my veins and everything sucked dry, or you would expect some resistance from them, and actual reluctance to believe in this kind of thing, let alone actually fight it. So to see Xander especially actually jumping into the fray and actually being willing to help Buffy fight vampires was actually kind of refreshing and interesting to see. And Willow, of course, Willow being kind of like her actually taking a longer time, and her being I think even her moment of being just overall just kind of being really kind of out phased out of this and actually phasing in and out as like her, I think, phasing in and out of reality and her memories, like her remembering what she saw in the cemetery and trying to process that, but then also actually phasing back in and actually remembering there's an actual live conversation about vampires going on and everything and stuff, and everything like her just she it's really fun and really interesting to see Alison Hannigan in a role like this, and knowing that she goes from this onto something a lot more kind of realistic and kind of a totally different genre. Is like How I Met Your Mother, knowing that she goes from this to that is also an interesting thing too. Actually kind of I'm really interested to kind of see that the display of her range too, her being able to actually kind of blend in so easily to a show about these kinds of about this kind of mythology and this kind of actual kind of section of the fiction genre, to then going on to something like that is actually a really interesting kind of transition to know about and stuff. And again, I think once again it feels a little bit weird watching it in reverse too, actually having grown up with her in How I Met Your Mother first, and then actually knowing that she actually did a show about vampires before this. Wow, I've really got to check that out and see what she was like. So yeah, but Willow and Xander each have their own kind of qualities and their own strengths, which I really like that they actually displayed it from the get-go too. Xander being Xander, him on the one hand, him not really following orders and him going ahead and actually trying to join in the fight anyway, in as best of a way as he can, kind of shows his character, he's actually willing to jump into the face of danger for his friends, and he's even his kind of his reluctance and his hesitation to actually kill Jesse when the time came to him in that sense still wanting to be able to save his friends, even if it officially is too late, him still kind of wanting to save them, wanting to get them back, and everything is a really kind of kind of heroic trait to see. But then also him actually just disobeying orders and following Buffy into the tunnels and still trying to find a way to actually cooperate with her and actually do something cool with her was really fun. So I think Xander might definitely be that kind of guy too. He's going to be the kind of guy to actually offer some kind of additional moral support from time to time, but then also actually being the guy to actually try and try and pick up a steak or pick up some garlic and throw them and do to try and be proactive and trying to do something. So that's fun. And then Willow being more of the tech whiz and being the one who's actually more kind of somewhat more skilled at researching too. And I think for her too, I think she I think Giles could probably sense that she was a bit too shaky and a bit too kind of shaken up and traumatized from what she'd seen to actually go back out there. So I think he took his own initiative and actually managed to keep her back and tried to help get her mind into a more stable kind of set by asking her to help him research all the stuff about the harvest. And she's good. She's great with computers. She can easily kind of handle some simple program like Cordelia and the other girl kind of struggling to figure out what to do, and then Willow's just on the other side just switching up web pages and doing all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I think seeing those computers too, that definitely brought back some sense of nostalgia. Like I used to have. I mean, we all used to have computers like that. I feel like I think the vast majority of people watching the show would definitely kind of remember having a computer that big, like a giant. I mean, computers that big, even TVs that big, like back when computers and TVs weren't actually flat screens, they actually had like the big giant, like the bulk of it just hanging out the back, and it was a pain in the ass to actually try and move. Because like like I think the TVs especially because of how much bigger they could be, like moving them was like a 3-4 person job. So then the computers were like just definitely kind of big. And yeah, I think I remember I had those computers. I had that kind of computer for too long too. I think it wasn't as soon as like higher quality and better, like higher performance kind of laptops and stuff came out. Like I was able to actually get those zooms. I think for the longest time, I remember using that for almost everything and not discovering stuff like gaming on PCs until it was much later and everything. So yeah, now I have this. So yeah, now I have 2 flat screen monitors and a much better PC. So yeah, it's takes patience and a lot of savings and hard work and everything. So yeah, but I mean, I would say I'm gonna appreciate the production and the quality of that, but then at the same time, it's like this stuff was made back then, so I feel like it's again for them, it's literally just present day for them, and especially like watching this live, it would have just been like a display of present day and like an actual reflection of present day kind of technology. So it would not have been nostalgic for back then, but now I think now if you're discovering the show for the first time now, then you're definitely gonna have like senses like a kind of nostalgia trip from time to time, seeing all these different things and all these different aspects of life back then. So yeah, I mean, I say back then, it's not really too long ago. It's like a decade, maybe more. So not like huge amounts of time, but back then. So yeah, but yeah, Willow is just is a computer whiz, and she knows all of her kind of tricks and her techniques and everything. So she is good with technology, and she's she's a great researcher too. So she is good for the library and to actually help with like kind of assist Mr. Giles in his kind of research and everything. So that's cool. So I think again like seeing that they all have their individual strengths too, and actually seeing how they contribute to the team and how they can do their part is really cool. So yeah, and yeah, like tying back into that scene in the computer room with Willow and Cordelia and her friend. Yeah, I mean, I thought she was tolerable last episode. I thought she was okay last episode. Like, okay, I mean, she seems like the typical kind of popular girl who's going to be mean and judgmental and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, if this, I thought back then, oh, if this is as bad as it gets, I'm pretty sure I can take it. I'm pretty sure I've dealt with enough of those kinds of people in real life, back in, like school and everything. So it seems tolerable. And then episode 2, like this episode comes and it's like, oh wow, it's just the way she, just digs into Willow and just, yeah. So she's gonna be that kind of character too. So yeah, I mean, again, just like not the biggest fan of bullies in any shape or form. And I think Cordelia can undoubtedly be kind of classified as a bully in that instance too, because for one thing, I'm pretty sure it's not just Willow she's mean to. I think like anyone she doesn't like, anyone she doesn't really class as popular or cool or socially acceptable, then she's instantly just kind of either ignorant, but then if they try and interact with her, then she's like, oh, like we gave you the permission to exist and all that kind of crap. So seeing her dig into Willow like that wasn't the nicest or most kind of the nicest kind of thing, and poor Willow does not deserve that. She doesn't. She not like she's. I think like they're defending her friend. Like Cordelia is just as expected. Cordelia is just blowing the entire experience with Buffy out of proportion. Like she never said a word. She just kind of assumed that Cordelia was gonna be like some kind of attacker or vampire or something. So then she had her stake at the ready. No words uttered. But then, of course, Cordelia being Cordelia, wanting the points and wanting the sympathy points and wanting to spread rumors about Buffy, just kind of portrays Buffy as some kind of murderous like weirdo or something. So yeah, I can tell I'm probably not going to be the biggest fan of Cordelia this season. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, sometimes bullies can get redemption arcs. Sometimes they can get redemption arcs, and how good they are depends on how bad, like how good they are. I think depends on how bad the actual bully is. Like based on whether or not you think that they can deserve on whether or not they deserve redemption, how badly they treat others, and how lasting that kind of treatment is. But then some bullies get redemption and others don't. So I'm not sure in what direction they're going within Cordelia, but yeah, no, Cordelia. I think she's gonna be too human. She's gonna be too identifiably and too recognizably human, and I'm just really not gonna like her. I'm really not gonna like her this season. Like she's gonna be recognizably human and grounded and realistic of like an actual mean person, to the point where it's going to be like like having murderous vampires and monsters in general that want to kill you and harvest your organs and leave you like a carcass. That's bad enough. But then why do we have to actually maintain human bullies and human like dark souls and everything like that? Just it's gonna be quite the ride watching Cordelia make Buffy and everyone else's life a living hell, along with the actual monsters of Sunnydale. So yeah, but props to Willow. Willow still managed to stand her ground somewhat, and she even again gave them vague enough directions as a nerd to trick them into deleting their work and everything. Like her saying, I mean thinking back, I don't think Deliver is even like Deliver isn't even actual. It's not even an actual key on the keyboard. I think she pressed the one that said DEL, which I think I immediately kind of clocked as being like the button to delete, and then I ended up deleting all of it. So I think knowing Willow and knowing how good she is with her tech too, like she likely did kind of just trick them into like shortening the word themselves, like DEL, that must be Deliver, and then they just end up losing everything. So props to Willow for getting some kind of like some kind of sneaky revenge back on them. So. Yeah, but Cordelia Chase. And yeah, we unfortunately had to say goodbye to Jesse. I figured, Jesse. I figured he probably wouldn't last more than the first first few episodes, and he probably kind of he. I think going in, he felt fairly expendable. He felt fairly expendable. And I think because I think Xander, honestly, like Xander seems like I think him and one of the reasons it felt like him and Xander got along was because they were actually very, very similar and very similar personalities and very similar kind of interests. So then because of that they bonded. But then I think keeping him around would mean I think felt like it would essentially mean like keeping like more than one Xander or more than one Jesse about. So if I we definitely kind of had to let go of one of them, and I think Jesse kind of Xander definitely seems like the more kind of not likable, but he definitely seems like I think because of his relationship to Willow, like Jesse seems like Jesse was friends with Xander, but he wasn't friends with Willow, whereas Xander was friends with Jesse and Willow, so because of his connection as well. I think they definitely it is definitely kind of clear that they want the characters to have like a clear cut kind of relationship with each other, and for there to be like solid kind of chemistry between the characters too. So I think having just another person who's only friends with one person, but then he's also kind of like Jesse, kind of like Xander in somewhat of a more kind of second-hand embarrassment kind of way doesn't really kind of work as well. So I think regardless, Jesse's actor still kind of killed it as Jesse, and he still kind of did his job to perfection. But then we had to actually lose him to the vamps, and he turned into one. So there was that whole thing. But then I think the ending that they gave him was actually pretty kind of interesting too. The fact that like him then becoming a vampire, too, he actually gained more physical and mental strength too. Physically he was actually still stronger and he was still kind of able to fight back. But then even kind of mentally and socially he managed to actually kind of steal a dance with Cordelia at the Bronze, and he still managed to actually kind of come off as confident and more kind of powerful and more kind of controlled and more and to the point where Cordelia I think Cordelia sensed that and she kind of maybe was interested in where it was going. She didn't kind of initially kind of push him away or reject him or shove him or do anything like that. She actually kind of saw that he was kind of changed and different now. So I don't know, maybe she was interested in that. So I think he definitely kind of I think they did they did a good job of actually showing his kind of change in character post kind of transformation, which I think would kind of match you, because a lot a lot of the time too you a lot of the time too you get those kinds of characters who are essentially they essentially as humans, pre-transformation, they are kind of really kind of socially awkward, or kind of really kind of not lackluster, but they are kind of very kind of simplistic kind of humans. But then once they actually transform into something more powerful and something bigger, they actually just get a surge of like a boost of energy that gives them this whole kind of visibly kind of stronger kind of aura almost, and this kind of stronger kind of presence, and they actually can kind of become someone completely new, and they change personality wise too. So with Jesse, that much is still clearly visible there, but then because he's now a vampire, he also has to die. And I do kind of appreciate that they didn't kind of push Xander into the kind of killing role immediately, into the killing role immediately. Like he still had trouble actually having to look at Jesse in the way that Giles suggested. Giles suggesting, when you look at that face, that's not the face of your friend anymore. That's the face of the creatures that killed him. So he's now one of them. He's now with them. He's never going to come back. So, but then even then, having known Jesse for as long as he has, having created those memories and living the life of being best buds and everything, he's still kind of reluctant, he's still hesitant, and then it literally takes a girl running past and actually bumping into Jesse to push Jesse onto the stake herself, so he can't even bring himself to do it. But then one nudge is all it takes. I definitely kind of appreciate that. I definitely kind of appreciate that they actually didn't immediately push him into the role of being a successful slayer or a killer or anything. They actually showed that it's not going to be that easy for him. So, but yeah, Jesse, he was Jesse. He was Jesse, and he was great. So R.I.P. to Jesse. And I think with the Harvest stuff being wrapped up and the Master stuff being wrapped up, we did have the entire thing wrapped up in this episode. But we also did get some history. I don't know if I actually did catch all of it. I think again, either or through editing or through actually watching the episode again, gonna have to kind of refresh some of the stuff they mentioned. But I think they mentioned how 60 years ago, the Master had to be the one who actually came across the shore to the shores of America 60 years ago, and the Master, I think, was the vampire who did some kind of swap or some kind of exchange or mixing with a demon, with the soul of a demon, and he tried to actually open up a portal to Hell, which was the Hellmouth, and stuff. But then there was an earthquake, and then the ground actually got swallowed up. So I think that has to be why then the actual kind of Hellmouth and why that kind of underground crypt thing that he's got going on is essentially underground, because the earthquake, and then I think maybe it was on ground before, but above ground before, but then got kind of swallowed in. And I think honestly that way works even cooler, because it's a lot creepier and it's a lot more mystical, and underground crypt is definitely the ideal location for something like the Hellmouth, which is a portal to Earth. So pretty much like a very, very convenient earthquake. But yeah, so then I think it might not. I'm not sure if they actually did say it was the Master, but then I think he mentioned old ones. He mentioned old ones, old, much older creatures. So monsters' existence and monsters' kind of overall kind of presence in the world predates that of humanity. Monsters were first, and then the path was paved, as Giles said, for humanity. So monsters of all kinds, vampires and werewolves and zombies and whatever, they all reigned free first, and then they were kind of separated and plucked apart, and then humanity came along, and then afterwards monsters actually tried to start feeding on humanity too, and actually tried to regain their power and control over the earth. So it's been pretty much like a battle of secrecy and supremacy ever since. So I think him mentioning old ones, I think that kind of terminology, the old ones, reminds me of the vampires from Being Human, the very first vampires were called the old ones too. So I mean, in the UK version, I haven't seen the US version of Being Human, so I don't know exactly how different that is, or how kind of differently the lore in that one works. But the UK version of Being Human had the old ones being the very first and very original vampires and everything. So I think that one kind of rung a bell in my head. So I think with this one, the old ones could just easily refer to any of the ancient and kind of original kind of monsters in general that are still lurking around, and they still kind of have some kind of presence. Maybe even similar to the Masters. Well, maybe even similar to the Masters, where they're weak and kind of craving power, and they're kind of still kind of hidden away in their own little crypts, and they're all still kind of waiting to be awoken and fed and nourished and everything. So yeah, but the master, I think, mixed with the demon soul, and then I think the old ones actually did actually procreate through mixing their blood with human blood and actually feeding off humans to give themselves power, and then actually creating more vampires by mixing their blood with humans and actually transforming them and everything. But then the master is the one who made who actually kind of did the mixing with a demon with the soul of a demon, and then actually tried to actually open up that breach and try to allow more demons, I think, into the actual world. So I think having that existing too, having that existing is actually really interesting too. Like the fact that because with vampires, I think with stuff like vampires and zombies and werewolves, I think those are those monsters are usually creations born out of mixing or kind of distorting natural human DNA and turning them into something else. But then with demons, it's those are more actual biblical creatures who are evil from origin and evil from actual kind of initial creation and everything. So there's little to no kind of I mean there can be torture involved, and I think if you go through the kind of interpretation that humans who are sent to hell are then tortured and distorted until they then become demons, and I think it could work in a similar way. But then I think with demons, I think it could be that there are also kind of like old ones for demons too, like very original demons that then actually do the torturing and actually create more and expand more. So then the master wanted to actually expand that kind of that dimension into Earth too. So then he tried to create the whole mouth, and then the earthquake happened, and then he was kind of stuck between them and stuff like that. So yeah, very interesting backstory. Very interesting backstory. So yeah. And yes, I think once again, in Buffy teaching Xander the rules and the kind of guidelines of hunting and slaying vamps and vampire slayage, as he so eloquently put it. Once again, establishing all the traditional and basic kind of weaknesses that they have, like sunlight, garlic, steaks, and I think she mentioned beheading too. Beheading, I think beheading is the one that I think I didn't actually know about until Supernatural. I personally don't think I ever actually knew about beheading being used as a method to actually kill vamps. And I think even in Supernatural, I think it works differently with that too. I think with that one, they kept everything except for beheading. They removed everything except for beheading. So vampires could easily walk around in sunlight, although they preferred to be out and hunting at night, but they could still walk around in sunlight. Garlic wouldn't affect them. Stake through the heart wouldn't affect them. You could set fire. I think you could set fire to them. I think you could set fire to them, but also predominantly you could actually just behead them, and that was the best way. That was the ultimate way to actually take a vampire out in Supernatural. So with this one, people have been pointing out that Buffy was pretty much the kind of starting point for horror TV shows and fantasy TV shows to actually take their kind of flights at, and so pretty much everything that came out after this kind of took inspiration from it in some way, be it the story or character work or mythology or whatever. So this was pretty much the starting point for a lot of what came after it. So yeah, so anyone who is a Supernatural fan, anyone who's a Charmed fan or a Teen Wolf fan or whatever, Buffy is also something else you need to be consuming. So yeah, so it's cool for them to actually go that far too. And I think what we learned from the end too, the way that Buffy so fashionably and so intellectually killed Luke, tricking him into thinking that there's actually sunlight outside when it's really. Because I think even for me, I didn't believe it. I think as soon as she mentioned it, I was like, wait, is it really that soon? It's only really been a couple of hours. I think surely, because it's because it's still meant to be the previous night, so it's not even hitting probably not even hitting midnight, or maybe just about hitting midnight. So it's sunlight should not be anywhere near you right now. So I was like, wait, is it really, or is it like some kind of mystical time jump that's going to work in some form of plot convenience? But no, this is actually her just using trickery and deceit to trick him into thinking that a nearby street lamp is gonna end up killing him through sunlight, and then being yeah, it's not even for a few hours, you dumbass. So yeah, stake through the heart for stupidity. That's what you get. So a very, very creative kill, a very creative and very, very sneaky kind of kill on her part. So yeah, I think again, actually, improvising, using her environment to her advantage, and actually kind of situational awareness and using stuff to her advantage and everything. So she slaying is also a lot more than just strength and martial arts and weapons and everything. It's actually about using, like your environment and your enemy's lack of knowledge there therefore to your actual advantage, actually tricking them into thinking they could die. So yeah, it definitely worked. And yeah, so then Luke actually turned out to get, like, right before he died, Luke turned out to actually get like a promotion of sorts from the Master 2, actually being fed the Master's blood and having the Ninja Star symbol drawn on his forehead too in the Master's blood. So he then was promoted and turned into like a conduit for the Master's power. So then anyone he fed on, and any life he took, any blood he drained, anything he kind of consumed, then that power would automatically be fed into the Master, giving him more power and giving him the ability to actually kind of try and like to move past that kind of invisible barrier that was stopping him from actually being completely free of the Hellmouth and its kind of domain and everything. So yes, I think even like I think cool enough that right before he died, he still got like a promotion. They still got to do something more powerful and still got to actually do something in service of his master. But then even he ended up dying, and I think I was actually gonna go like starting to wonder like if he dies, then does that then mean that the master then dies too? Like, because then he's a conduit, but then like does that work both ways too? Like if he loses, like he gains power, so then the master gains power. But then if he loses power, if he loses a life, then does that mean like the connection is set? Like the connection there is clearly severed then, but then is it severed to the point where the master dies too, and then they can actually wipe out the master, or is it going to be, because I think, but then I think I think it kind of makes more sense. I think makes more sense, and also makes it more interesting for them to actually take Luke out, but then to keep the master around, and that actually offers more kind of reprisal kind of opportunities in the future, and definitely kind of offers like actually like maintains the kind of Hellmouth kind of threat down below, and actually keeping it for like today, while it gives them the chance to actually explore new things. But then it's like deep down, it's like oh, that guy from the beginning, the threat and the kind of interdimensional kind of evil from the beginning is still there. They've still got to kind of sort that out at like a later time. But then Luke is gone, so like the guy's got to find like a new dedicated vampire servant and conduit and everything. He's got to start all the way from the top now. He's got to start all the way from the top. So I think, I mean, they definitely fed the master before that. So I think I don't know if he's actually lost all of his power and he has to build out from the top, or maybe if he just lost everything for now and he's still kind of at like a semi kind of suitable level of power, or what's happening. But either way, Luke's gone, Master's got no one left, and I think I don't, because I think Darla, I think Darla did die, right? I mean Darla got like a face full of holy waters. I'm trusting that killed her and it didn't just kind of injure her. Maybe I don't know if she could still be around, but I think the other vampires were still kind of there and around, but I think Buffy did kind of handle most of them, and then Luke died, Jesse died, Darla most likely died, so then the main kind of three are pretty much gone now, so then the remaining vampires, I think they'd like the remaining ones, I think that there's no telling if they might return to the Master and try and help him build up again, or if they're going to try and go their separate ways and escape and try and feed someone else that's not that doesn't have a Slayer in it or something. But either way, vampire threat momentarily vanquished, but the Master momentarily kind of sidetracked and everything. So they did the job. So yeah, so Luke is now dead and the Master's not rising. So that's a win. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've got. I think the episode kind of ended off now with them officially kind of being like somewhat established as an actual team, and them kind of now being bonded as friends too. Like them also, them all kind of being in on and knowing about the secret. I think the interesting thing too, I think my mind was just kind of running through the thoughts like okay, now like first of all, vampires unafraid of their true visage show up at Bronze and they take everyone hostage and they take prisoner, and then Luke actively starts killing people too. He actually actively starts fighting and killing people, and then Cordelia's very nearly next, and then Buffy shows up without, again, not super. I mean, she is super. I mean, like Xander did appropriately kind of label her as kind of a superhero, so that much is true. But a superhero without an alter ego, like a superhero without an alter ego. So she, like nothing to hide her identity, nothing to show that like it's not Buffy Summers actually fighting off all these crazy super strong vampire people and everything's like the way the entire situation played out. I kept thinking to myself like there's no way that this won't make the news, or there's no way that this won't kind of spread rumors around the school like wildfire, or no way that this won't be kind of talked about some kind of weirdly freakish incident, but then, you know, Cordelia starts kind of labeling it some kind of turf war gone wrong with people with ugly faces and all that kind of jazz. And I think what Giles said actually then made sense. What Giles actually said made sense. Like people will try and rationalize what they can, but they will forget what they can't. Like they'll try and make sense of what they can, and actually try and like minimize it down to, you know, like somewhat more simplistic kind of details. But then anything they can't rationalize and anything they can't understand or make sense of, they'll just kind of forget it and push it aside, and, you know, kind of like retreat back into their kind of societal curtain of safety and sanity and everything. So yeah, I think that then makes me really interested to see what else like what more crazy stuff, or I mean, what crazier stuff could happen that people then witness but no one really kind of questions it, no one really kind of like admits that it's really, really freaky, or really, really kind of like, no one really admits that it's something that belongs in a horror movie and not in real life and stuff like that. But then also kind of makes me wonder if they'll actually go further to show that, or if this was maybe just proof that no matter what you show people, people will still try and rationalize it and try and simplify it and try and treat it as anything other than supernatural or horror or anything crazy at all. So I am interested to see what more they could do. But then also I think now like what they've established even more is the fact that now Buffy, Giles, Xander, Willow, they're all a team. They are the Fantastic Four of Sunnydale. So now they've got their hands full with any potential new threats coming in. So now they can, you know, stick together and band together to handle those and do their thing. So I am enjoying that. I'm really loving that kind of thing so far. So I can't wait to progress and see how much further they get into this kind of life and into this kind of story, and see what the future holds in store for them. So it should be fun. And yeah, we also had Angel. We also had more Angel. Angel being in the kind of entrance to the tunnels, and I think him showing up in daylight surprised me too. Because then that had me questioning whether or not like the daylight thing was true. I mean, I think it must be true because then I'm wondering if he's a special kind of vampire, maybe. If he's a special, because some sunlight was still bleeding through. I think there was still enough sunlight that he could have been able to feel it, and maybe it didn't show anything. But I mean, you know, I think maybe it's like more direct sunlight that it happens in, or maybe wondering if he's a special kind of vampire, like maybe he's a vampire that's kind of that can actually, that is less susceptible or more tolerable or something to sunlight. Maybe it doesn't affect him as much. Maybe he has some kind of immunity, or maybe he's like a special breed or something, or maybe like if it's just like, you know, he's still kind of he's inside enough that it maybe just feels like what regular heat would feel like to an actual human being, like what regular kind of maybe 20-degree heat or something would feel like. But then yeah, because I think we've yet to see what sunlight actually looks like affecting a vampire in this show. We've yet to actually see what it actually does to them. Because I mean, believe me, I'm not expecting any kind of Twilight sparkling business, and I'm not expecting anything like that. But we still haven't yet actually seen exactly what kind of effect visually sunlight has on a vampire. Like if they actually start smoking, or if they start, because I think with the holy water she actually started smoking and it actually started burning. I'm wondering if we get like a similar effect with the sunlight, or if maybe they actually do start glowing before they actually explode like a giant kind of like a sun grenade or something. I don't know, but we haven't yet seen what's meant to happen. So I think I feel like because of that, we can kind of let it slide. But then also maybe because of the fact that he's still kind of inside, he's mostly inside, and there's just like enough to bleed through enough sunlight bleeding through to show to actually light up his face, but then not enough to actually harm him or show off any kind of actual damage. So I don't know, but either way, Angel came through. And he did kind of still mention him. I think he mentioned that the other vampires don't really like him that much. I think that kind of really had me questioning, why would a vampire not like one of their own? Why would they not? Because I mean, to be fair though, he did give her a crucifix. He did actually hand her a weapon that is used against vampires. So I think so far he definitely does seem like a vampire who doesn't really like his own kind, or a vampire who just isn't really kind of connected with them, and he's to the point where he's actually willing to give a slayer a weapon to kill his own kind. So I think because of that, I'm all the more curious to actually find out exactly what his backstory is, and all the like what his actual kind of what his true nature is. If he is like a really kind of like a polar opposite vampire who is like maybe if he's like a vampire who just kind of doesn't really kind of agree with his own kind, or agree with what his kind does, or maybe he's like a special breed of vampire, so he has maybe some of their strengths and none of their weaknesses, or I don't know. But Angel is peculiar, and finally, and we finally got Angel. We finally actually got the Angel name reveal. So now they actually did reveal that he is in fact Angel. So yeah, and I mean so far he's I think the next scene we saw him in was the actual nighttime one when the vampires all ran away, and he kind of managed to confirm that Buffy actually did slay Luke and end the harvest and everything. So he's kind of just been here and there, just monitoring stuff and making sure that Buffy's actually able to do her thing. So I am looking forward to seeing when he can actually meet Giles and when he can meet the team and when he can actually, maybe even join the team. Like having a vampire on their side, like having like a vampire like Angel on their side probably would be make for an interesting character addition and everything. So yeah, it should be fun. It should be very, very fun. But yeah, that is it. That is pretty much all I've picked up from this one. So that was fun number 2, fun part 2. So looking forward to episode number 3 and seeing what all the future episodes of this show have in store for me. But yeah, and as always, just looking forward to experiencing the rest of the show and the rest of the season with you guys and seeing exactly what the show has to offer and seeing how quickly and how well I can actually fall in love with the show too. So it should be an exciting journey. So yeah, that is pretty much it. That is pretty much it for this one. So that was Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 1 Episode 2. So as always, thank you guys so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time, and what you're looking forward to from the rest of the season, and any thoughts you have on this episode as well. And once again, the full-length reaction is available on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is it. So I will see you guys next time.